Hello again. So this week I wanted to return to Infinity. Just give a quick update of where I am in the game and how it's going for my return to it. Now, as I normally like to start off with hobby, there's still quite a lot for me to do. A lot of these models just have so many tiny details, it takes a while for me to finally finish them off. I'm mostly doing making sure I've got all my markings, line of sight markings here finished for a upcoming tournament. It's normally the kind of thing I'd leave for last, but it's just nice to have it ready in a tournament setting, I think. On that, I also think their release schedule is making it real hard for me to stick to my one faction a year policy. There's a lot of stuff coming out for Yuching I'm just loving the look of, but I'm determined to stand fast. At the moment, I'm still just playing Steel Phalanx. After this upcoming tournament, I might spread my wings into OS, but definitely staying in Avaleft for the rest of the year, at least. Next year we can talk about it. Hey. That said, on hobby and the models, I just want to point out, I know other videos have brought this up, but just the variety in the game. I think there was a good example I saw in a video where if you take away the colors from the lines, basic line troops of all the factions, it actually becomes quite hard to know who's who. And I found in a lot of my games, just looking at models, I don't really know who's who unless it's the one faction I currently play. So I don't know what can be done about that, but I think it's something you should be aware of coming into the game, and just it's another learning curve to try and make your way through. Speaking of, so games. Now I still got a lot to learn. It's a very steep learning curve, but luckily the community around here is just really great, and from what I've seen, all of Australia's community is just really great. Happy to teach, gives you good warnings. Like much like Malifaux, this is again very easy to get gotchas in it, but most people are very happy to warn you that you're about to enter the line of sight of a model you didn't intend to. So I'm just really happy to have such a warm community. And I think it's lucky. This game, I think would have a very hard time getting new players if you didn't help them get into the game. But that said, with a learning curve, I'm really enjoying the game so far. Luck-wise, I've had some really good luck. I've had some bad luck. It balances out. And as though games have gone badly for me, almost every time I've been outplayed or I've made bad decisions, but it's on the players. The models aren't OP. My faction isn't underpowered. It's exactly what you want. The thing standing in my way of winning games is me learning to play the game better, which is just a great place to be. I just really love that about this. As I said, you get those point of bad lucks, but I don't find they're enough to swing whole games. It's just really good. So the other things I'll talk about today. So I'm recording this part before the upcoming tournament. So let's just have a quick look at that, shall we? So standard 300, as I believe is the standard. 3 rounds, we're looking at Capture and Protect, Evac, which is probably going to be the hardest one of all, and ending on Firefight, so at least that will be a nice light on the brain power for the end of the day. So, I've taken the philosophy of building my list for what I think is the hardest one first. My rescue team. Now this is basically, the core of this is a 5-man link with Hector leading up the center of the board with 2 forward observers and a medic. And a hacker to defend him. The idea is he's get off the board, we break the link, Hector's in your face, and all these cheap troops try and do some evacs. While that's happening, you've got Group 2 with a Mackie, most likely duoed with the Engineer, moving up the board. Also the try and evac anyone, as well as a forward deployment camo forward observer. So I have 4 forward observers to try and evac civs and HVTs. And then Eudorus is just designed to flee in my opponent's face to keep them busy or attack his models trying to evac. And an Ectomoy hacker, mainly to drop in if Hector needs that extra support. I found that happens on occasions. You just need someone to come in and rescue him as it is. So that's the plan for this one. So my hunter-killer list for Firefight, and this is also probably the one we'll move into Catch or Protect, because it involves around having multiple fire teams moving up the board. So starting off, you have Machion Lieutenant linked with Eudorus and a Myrmidon Hacker. This is your main link spearheading the thing. But supporting them, a pair of Mackies, a forward observer and a missile launcher one. In my test games, they've mostly sat back and been firing at things at range, but they've done some really good work. And rounding out Group 1, a Netrod and Atlantia laying down more cover fire. So far, she hasn't done much, but mainly denies a lot of fire lanes as people are scared to go to where she can see them. So she's done things, just not killed many people. A Group 2, a 4-man link, again with a hacker, a forward observer, and a Dactyl Doctor. This acts as my support link, so if someone needs help, I have this one can run up and start trying to get an emergency doctor to them, as well as another Ectomoy killer hacker to drop down, assassinate lieutenants he's been real good at, or breaking up opposing hackers to allow my heavy infantry to move forward unattacked by them. So that's the plan. They're the lists. I will be back shortly and tell you how it all went. And we're back. And things did not go well, but probably not for the reasons you're thinking. So I ended up coming down sick on the tournament weekend, so I couldn't attend. And now that I'm able to talk again, well, let's talk. This does throw my plans for the future out quite a bit as it hits my number of games. So at the moment I'm at 5 games with my Steel Phalanx, which I feel is barely enough to start getting your feet underneath you, let alone learning some proficiencies. Now, I was kind of hoping those extra games out of the tournament would sort of get me closer to being able to jump around a bit more, but as it is, I feel like I'm better off bunkering down and doubling down on what I'm doing rather than moving on to something else. So, the plan at the moment is we'll get to at least 10 games and reassess, but most likely we'll be trying to do a singles sectorial for the rest of the year. The only real spanner in that works is I just really want to try out Posthumans, which now I don't know if that becomes a next year goal or I still want to switch to one of the Yu Jings next year, but with just the number of games I've got, it's very much jumping around. I've found very much, especially with Malifaux and bringing that into other games, sticking to a single faction has done me a lot of good, where as much as I want to jump around and play everything, you just pay for it in the end. But hopefully I will be well enough soon to play some games again. But for now, that's me, Captain Steel, signing out.